Here's the leadership truth no one prepares you for. The moment you start rising, your talent can feel like a threat to colleagues who have relied on politics instead of performance. Not because you changed, but because your growth exposes the choices others didn't make and the potential they didn't pursue. When I first became interested in administrative roles in Pakistan, I was genuinely optimistic. I believed people would support me. I thought they'd appreciate someone willing to step forward and take responsibility. But the moment I started applying, something shifted. Colleagues I shared an office with quietly went to the director to warn him about my ambitions. I remember feeling surprised and honestly unsettled, because at that point, I hadn't even stepped into leadership yet and resistance had already begun. That's when I realized something important. Sometimes it's not your position that creates tension, it's the signal that you're about to grow. When I eventually became the Pro Vice Chancellor, the change in dynamics became undeniable. People from my own department, friends, peers I had studied with, didn't come to congratulate me. Instead, complaints and concerns went straight to the Chancellor. At one point, a formal case was even filed against me in the court. Completely untrue. And I'll be honest, that hurt. Not just professionally, but personally, since it came from a person I genuinely considered as a friend. And it makes you start questioning your intentions, your relationships, and your judgment. Looking back now, I understand what I couldn't see clearly at the time. It wasn't about me. It was about what my growth represented. And that was my first real leadership lesson. Your progress doesn't just open new doors for you, it quietly challenges the people around you. That's when I learned this pattern follows you. Later, when I moved to the UK and took a senior leadership role, I expected a professional environment. But the dynamics simply took a different shape. Colleagues who had been supportive suddenly started creating friction. Policies were ignored, processes slowed, subtle resistance began to surface. At first, I was confused. I wondered if I had misread people. But then I realized it wasn't personal. It was the natural response to someone who's rising faster than those around them. And that's a pattern every leader eventually encounters. And then when I moved to Canada and stepped into senior executive roles, the politics didn't disappear, it evolved. I encountered executives lobbying behind closed doors to block my progress. It didn't stop there, and a unionized employee was encouraged to file complaints to slow me down. Different country, different culture, but exactly the same pattern. And that reinforced a truth I had started to understand. Leadership isn't always about systems or policies. It's about navigating human nature, which is universal. So here's what I want every emerging leader to understand. People don't turn against you when you fail. They turn against you when you grow. Your rise forces them to confront their own choices, their own fears, their own unrealized potential. And that's why leadership can feel lonely. Not because you push people away, but because you outgrow the rooms that once felt safe. Finally, in my case, here's the part no one expected. I approached every challenge with clarity, dignity, professionalism, and a human-centered mindset. I kept delivering excellence even to people who weren't professional toward me. And that's what made the difference. Because when you stay rooted in your values, you don't just survive the politics, you rise above it. Something remarkable happens then. You stop losing sleep over the wrong people and start attracting the right ones. People who aren't threatened by your growth, but inspired by it. That is the real reward of leadership. Losing the wrong people and gaining the right ones.